As a skilled restorer and Ferrari lover, Wayne Carini searches for the most intriguing, strange, and unique automobiles in the world on the television program Chasing Classic Cars. It ran on the Velocity Network, a spin-off of Discovery Channel, for 9 seasons. Over the years, it established an immense fan base and become one of the network's major successes. Viewers have been thrilled by the show's amazing discoveries, updates, and star appearances. They also like Carini's humble yet charming approach. Naturally, nothing ever appears precisely as it does in a motion picture. Every circumstance has a fair amount of difficulties, most of which explode out of proportion for the cameras. In addition to the typical difficulties and drama between the scenes of reality TV, Chasing Classic Cars is involved in the mysterious worlds of automobile auctions and repairs. Expert auto restorer Wayne Carini has devoted his life to the craft of car restoration. He has done painting and body repaired on rare cars collections. Besides the New York Times, he has appeared in 2 one-hour television shows and other major periodicals. In order to find the most sought-after and most exotic cars in the entire globe, Wayne sets out on his own journey, and Chasing Classic Cars now offers viewers a true insider's look into the inner workings of his life. In the documentary Chasing Classic Cars, you may join the exclusive club of car lovers as Wayne purchases, repairs, and auctions old vehicles. Wayne is the only one who can enter the most expensive and hidden garages. Wayne's love of automobiles began at an early age, when he worked on old cars like Duesenbergs, Lincolns, Packards, and Ford model, as with his father. Then, when he was 9 years old, he discovered something that could alter his life forever. He drove his first Ferrari, a 1960 Rosso Chiaro 250 SWB. Wayne caught the Ferrari bug right away and never looked the same. Ever since, Wayne has become fascinated with cars. Francois Sicard, the most experienced mechanic on the East Coast, taught Wayne the art of Ferrari repair. Wayne has been in charge of 3 businesses in Portland since that time. F40 Motorsports is a business that deals in classic vehicles. Wayne works at Carini Carrozzeria, a renovation firm, for the majority of his days. Wayne enjoys precisely restoring vehicles, although he personally favors original, unadulterated vehicles. The centerpiece of Wayne's personal collection, these progressively uncommon vehicles are frequently shown in a famous preservation class at the hallways around the nation. Wayne, who has been married for 24 years, is a devoted father to his 2 kids at homes. The family lives in a wooden house that Wayne designed 33 years ago in an isolated part of Connecticut. Wayne is an avid supporter of associations that conduct autism research, and he assists in organizing and funding car events that benefit autistic kids as well as adults. He was motivated to look for a cure or a solution after his youngest child received an early autism diagnosis. Wayne also participates in and frequently attends a variety of car groups and events in an attempt to encourage youth to develop a passion for car ownership. He thinks that the history of automobile collectors would alter if young people were inactive. His current obsession is to convince parents of special needs children to think about placing collector automobiles in a special needs trust, with the goal that the cars would one day benefit the youngsters. Wayne has always had an intense love for automobiles, having taken care and restored several of them, but he developed a special bond and fascination with the 2 identical 1931 Stutz Bearcats. American sports cars like the Stutz Bearcat rose to fame prior to the start of the First World War. A 60-horsepower piston from Wisconsin Motor Construction Works initially drove the Bearcat, as was typical of sports automobiles at the time. It had a small screen in front of the motorist, open bucket seats, and a petrol tank on the rear deck. The first production started in 1912 and was restarted in 1931. 8-cylinder engines were standard on all new Bearcats, which were evaluated to reach speeds of over 100 miles per hour. It had doors that mimicked those of a contemporary sports vehicle, and a spare tire mounted on the side. The 1931 variant was in operation until 1933. Carini's search for unusual cars around the U.S. is what sets Chasing Classic Cars apart from other auto programs. Carini's exhibit of vintage cars that haven't been seen in the open for decades is one of the things that entices people to the exhibition. The 1964 Shelby Cobra USRC Roadster and the 1952 Munz jet are two of the cars. Carini adds some to his personal collection in addition to restoring and selling the majority of the vehicles. Among his nearly 25 vintage cars are the 1948 David Davin and the 1936 Ford truck. No one is able to dispute Wayne Carini's popularity as presenter of Chasing Classic Cars. Despite the fact that many participants have had more severe than ideal experiences, some people think everything that occurs on the program is entirely legal. Many have said that he strikes them as an entrepreneur foremost, who is far more focused on the money than the car itself. Others claim that Carini has demonstrated his ability to flip cars, and that in many of these actions, his only concern is the possible profit from reselling the unusual or rare vehicle. Though it's unclear if Carini is a flippers or just a crafty businessman, there's no denying the gravity of the charges. There's no doubting that the show is at its most popular point ever, regardless of whether Carini is profiting from the sales. Evidently, the allegations haven't had sufficient of an impact to lessen the show's appeal. Wayne Carini, with a projected net worth of $17 million. I believe the TV celebrity is well funded for the next wild farm discovery. Wayne, in my opinion, has had a big influence on the vintage car scene. It's amazing how successful his business endeavors have been. Carini not only invests in, sells, and restores old automobiles, but she is also a trained inspector. His proficiency in appraising classic cars has established him as a trustworthy authority in the field. At the 2014 Pebble Beach auction, Carini watched progress being made when a 1962 Ferrari 250 GTO auctioned for an incredible $35 million, the highest amount ever for a vehicle sold at an auction. Prior to being active in the world of antique vehicles, Carini attended college and graduated with a degree in political studies. His education has provided him with a broad outlook on both life and business. Carini's global network of ties has been facilitated by his standing in the antique vehicle sector. He has connections with dealers, supporters, and experts all across the globe due to these partnerships. Despite Carini's 13 seasons of chasing vintage vehicles, the show is still yet to receive positive reviews. About 2 years ago, Chasing Classic Cars beat milestones from the previous year by 59%, launching it to the top of Velocity's schedule and demonstrating that it had one of the greatest ratings on the network. Most people are shocked that the show took quite a while to become well known, especially in light of how many renowned Hollywood celebrities have been on it. Chasing Classic Cars continues to gain popularity. The program's headliner, Carini, is not the only one with extensive knowledge of automobiles. Wayne's technician Roger Bear was a major figure on the program. After Bear abruptly left the program, fans were curious about his whereabouts. Bear had a leg problem while working on a car, so he was taken to the hospital. A few weeks later, he went back to work at F40 Motorsports, but shortly after, he became ill again and was forced to go back to the hospital. Bear is reportedly going back to working half days after healing, according to his social media sites.